understand this. Are we now holding these preseason games and throwing interceptions at camp at a higher standard because, we need Ridder to be successful? Is that what you're telling me right now?
All I need is us to win the first half that he's playing in, okay? I need him to look good. Now, let's be honest now. We can't talk out of both sides of our big pie holes.
What do you mean?
Dan Quinn went 0 for 3 freaking years in preseason. And you don't tell me there's any correlation between that and this team going crap. 3 years in a row to DQ. They finally had to blow him out. We literally went I think it was 6 games or 7 games in a row before we won in preseason, which it's got to have some bearing on what you're doing.
You're saying, which is true, that when DQ was here, we said the preseason, we got to be better in the preseason. Right. We're not ready to play, blah, blah, blah. And then we get into the season, and it played out as such.
Right.
And you're saying there's a danger, Will Robinson.
Danger.
That there is a chance if we don't take this preseason and training camp accordingly, that is how we may roll into the season. Is that what you're saying?
The Falcons, after we won the Super Bowl, lost the Super Bowl, but we won the NFC Championship, obviously, and then you get into 17 and 18, you realize under Dan Quinn, going back to the Hall of Fame game, the Falcons dropped their last 11 preseason games in a row.
And you think there was a direct correlation?
I think, 17, we had a really good defense. Offense was crap under Sarkisian. 18 and 19, and I can tell you guys how it went down. 20 were hot garbage. I'm just saying. I know that I can hear Randy McMichael if he's in his car right now screaming at the radio. Preseason doesn't matter. I get that. But then why do we play these games? All right, we got to get ready for the regular season. Arthur Smith didn't have the veterans ready to go the first year he was head coach. Admittedly, a mistake.
He did.
And that translated us starting like crap in the regular season, I think.
And that is why I don't think he's going to make that same mistake after going through that first year of not playing a lot of guys in the preseason. Now, there are only 3 preseason games. They've cut one. Remember, new CBA. You're not going to see the starters as much. It's not just meant to do that. I mean, the deal with this is evaluation. For the guys that do have a chance to make this team, you're trying to evaluate them and give them an opportunity to do that in those 3 preseason games. But for Desmond Ridder, let me ask you this. He throws a pick in one of these preseason games. Are you going to lose your mind?
No, but everybody else is.
Oh, come on.
Everybody out there in radio land.
This is what preseason is for.
Yes, clean up mistakes. Clean up the mistakes.
We got to clean it up. We got to clean it up.
Or not have the mistakes in the first place because you've got the reps in there.
You know what? I get a sense you're putting way more pressure on Ridder than you're saying.
No, I know that you know this town. You've been here a long time. You know how people are. Nobody's rooting for this guy. They're rooting for this guy to fail because that's half our fan base. Half our fan base is pulling for this guy. The other half is going, yeah, should have moved up for Bryce Young. You know how it works.
How can you be rooting? Mike's right. How can you be rooting for him to fail? He's the guy.
Right. He has the weight of his head coach's mustache on his shoulders, guys.
Yes, he does.
That's right. Mustache.
I just want to, before we go any further, and we're going to be up there tomorrow and all next week and taking in all this stuff, and we'll tell you what we think and what we think about certain guys, and we'll get to these preseason games. But I just want to be clear. Mistakes are going to be made,
right?
And we need to chill with the perfection or else thing. Like, if he doesn't go 40 for 40 in these 3 games, that we're going to, it's going to be a crap season.
Right.
We cannot do that.
The year we went to the Super Bowl, we went 3-1.
Okay, here you go.
I just looked it up.
Come on, Mike.
Now, 17, we beat the Rams in L.A., should have beat the Eagles, should have gone back to the Super Bowl. Our offense was not good, our defense. We lost all 4 games in the preseason in 2017.
Come on.
Let's move forward to 2018. 2018, we finished 7-9, and let's see. Oh, yeah, we lost every single game in the preseason. Let's go to 2019. 2019, we finished 7-9 under Dan Quinn. Sergeant's slogan, we snapped the losing streak.
Yes.
We went 1-4. Because we played in the Hall of Fame game. We lost 4 in a row, but then we finally won the usual game we used to play in Jacksonville. But we lost 11 preseason games in a row. In 2 of those 3, in those 3 seasons, we did not make the playoffs, 18, 19, and then getting into 20. So I'm just telling you, there's a little bit of you want your team to be crisp, you want things to work, and then by the time you're getting to the guys who are going to be working for UPS by this time the season's going, by week 3. In the old days, it's different now because it's only 3 weeks. That's another thing. I think the preseason, actually, you do pay more attention to it now because there's got to be more of a sense of urgency.
There is.
There's only 3 games.
No, there is. But
I'm not trying to go off on a freaky rant here. John's got his strong opinions, and I don't want to sound like I'm going off half-cocked here, but I just think we want to hit the ground running this year. How about that?
Well, listen, I have no issues with that. But I also know that this is part of the learning process for a guy that's only played 4 games in the NFL. He will make mistakes. And if he makes those mistakes in preseason, I hope you guys are not like, oh, I knew Ridder wasn't this dude. That is so unfair for you to even go there. Now, if we get into week 6, Mike, and he's thrown, I don't know, a pick a week, that's a different conversation, okay? But not for 3 games in the preseason. And this is what this is all about. It's Dukes and Bell at Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. What are your realistic expectations for Desmond Ridder? Be real. Be real.
Over 3,500 yards passing.
Yes.
At least 20 touchdowns. At least 20 touchdowns.
Got to. I think 25 is the number.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I'm being very rudimentary because I think we're going to be running the football. But, I mean, it's hard to see, it's just for argument's sake. If he's throwing for 3,500 yards, how much of that is going to Pitts? How much is going to Drake? How much is going to Bijan and the other guys? Jonnu Smith. That's why it gets us back all the way around about it might not be the most easiest team to try to handicap for us for fantasy and who's going to be able to pop. One day, much like the old Patriots under Josh McDaniels, Arthur Smith might run the ball for 200 yards. Other days, we might be throwing it more. So it's kind of hard to handicap where we're going to go.
Yeah, listen, there's no set rhyme or reason to what this offense is. Like, if I asked you right now, what is the offense? You want it to be, well, we have an explosive play and, explosive potential in Pitts and London, and obviously Bijan has that, but you can't pinpoint what this is right now.
The only thing I say physicality.
Okay.
Physicality will be the hallmark of our offense.
Okay, and I hope you're right, because it hasn't been. We only got physical last year and ran the ball effectively. That's not who we've been. We were not that leading up to Coach Art getting here. It was still about Matt Ryan throwing it around the yard. So I hope you're right about that. And if that is the case, Mike, then physical football is running the football. And that is opening up all these other doors. 404-726-0929. Just talking about this because, Mike, we cannot not say that the preseason doesn't matter when, in fact, we have guys that need to show out in the preseason. And to Mike's point, he's not lying. I was one of the guys putting all the pressure on Dan Quinn saying, hey, the preseason, just like these OTAs and all this other stuff matters because it gets you ready for the season. And we can talk about, well, does it really matter? All I will tell you is the teaching aspect of football for a lot of NFL teams, most of them, a lot of that time is going away. You don't get to have guys on the field 8 hours at camp anymore.
Look, and Kick just hit us up, Kicktastic on Twitter, and said, remember the year the Lions lost every single game, 0-16? They were 4-0 in the preseason.
Yep.
I understand. I hit him back. I said, but we can't say the preseason doesn't matter when this Falcons team has sucked in the preseason and then gone on and sucked in the regular season. So sometimes there is a correlation between the mediocrity you see in August and the mediocrity you see throughout the fall.
Yeah, Mike misses the glory days in 2016 when Justin Hardy was catching passes from Matt Schaub and winning games in the fourth quarter for the Falcons.
Hey, if you bet the preseason, again, you got issues. But I'm just saying, Ridder is going to be under the microscope, and he only adds the pressure. Fair or unfair, whatever you think the preseason is or isn't, we can all agree. If Ridder struggles in the preseason, it just ratchets up the tension and the pressure on the kid.
Coming up.
You're overreacting.
Yes, we will.
I am not playing radio.
Yes, we will.
I got to see this team look good.
Oh,
look good from the jump.
Goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Well, see, here's the thing. If you look like crap in August, then what's going to happen in week 1 against Carolina?
They'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's a learning process.
Call the guys at Piedmont Orthopedic. I'll get my knee done that Monday. If we lose that game, can you squeeze me in?